So at this point, the agent then asked me to split my commission with her so we could help pay for the solar system.
I love solar systems, but I am so tired of watching solar systems blow up real estate agents' transactions. So today I have the honor of interviewing an agent on our team, Rhitney Lawrence. Rhitney, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And Rhitney's just dealt with a crazy solar system transaction and she survived and is here today to tell us the story.
It was a challenge, but I learned a lot and I'm here to share it with you guys today.
Well, I'm excited to jump right into this. I'm John Foster and I help real estate agents, team leaders, and broker owners scale to become #1 in their marketplaces. So really excited to have you with us today, Rhitney. Just wanted to ask you a couple questions. So how long have you had your license?
I've had my license for a little over a year now.
Awesome. How are things going so far?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the challenges.
It's been an interesting market, hasn't it?
Very.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to grasp when you're new, but I hear that we're about to have the best year yet, so.
So are you ready to talk about solar systems?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Let's go.
Okay. So we're just going to kind of go through sort of some sequential events that Rhitney had to deal with. And let's start with when her client saw the property. So you pulled it up on the MLS. And if you don't mind, Rhitney, talk a little bit about, as an agent, what do you see initially on the MLS, how it labels the solar system?
Yeah, so when I pulled up the listing for them and looked at it, there was definitely solar. It was disclosed on the MLS as a lease solar. When we opened the disclosures, there was no solar documents yet. So we were waiting for the agent to send them to us.
Ah, bad listing agent. You mean they had solar written on the MLS, but no disclosure documents, no lease information, nothing?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. So what happened at that point? So again, the seller and the MLS and the disclosures are telling you it's a leased system. And what did your client have to say about that? Were they okay with that?
Yeah, they were fine. They are two sisters buying a property together. They both have solar systems on their current homes they own now. So they were excited for the solar. They know about solar. A lease solar was no problem to them.
Okay. Yeah. And you know, we're in California. We have solar systems on a lot of properties here. Promise we'd go like sequentially here. So Rhitney sees that it's in the MLS. It says it's a lease system. And then in the seller disclosures, it said the same thing. So Rhitney did a great job. Like she kind of checked boxes from two different angles. The MLS said it was leased. The disclosure said it was leased. And what happened next after that?
So we were 3 weeks into escrow at this point. And in our third week of escrow, we finally get the solar documents as we keep asking for them over and over. Lenders asking for them. Then we see that it's a loan. It's definitely not a lease. And then it kept saying approximately $30,000. There was never disclosed the price, never disclosed that it was a loan to begin with. So that kind of started to screw things up. People started to panic. We still couldn't get the information. The listing agent never fully had the information herself. She didn't have the contract for the solar. So all the information was wrong.
That's crazy. So your excited buyer might have not been excited because they're going, now it's owned. And just for our viewers here, it's the fact of it's owned or leased is not really the issue. It's, you know, we don't like surprises. We like surprises, just not in real estate, right? So
well,
your buyer then goes, now there's a $30,000 loan?
Well, right, because now it went from a $200 payment to a $30,000 approximately debt to take on. And that's where the disconnect was, because we weren't expected to take on someone else's debt, especially approximately $30,000 at this point. That changes everything. It changes our offer, it changes their loan, everything.
Right, and with the lender, now they're going, well, wait a minute, this is more debt, which we all know lenders look at what? A DTI, debt to income ratio. This changes that.
And then the listing agent was really hard to deal with. She just kept saying, I can't imagine a $200 payment mess up $1 million deal. But it wasn't about the payment. It was about assuming someone else's debt or their loan that they already got approved for.
That's so crazy. So I hope this really helps our viewers. And Rhitney and I were joking a little bit before filming this video, but like we kind of said, it's a lot like a car. You can buy a car or you can lease a car, but then if you buy it, there's two ways to buy it, right?
Yes.
You could just write a check to the dealer, like I bought the car, literally.
And then you own it.
And then you own it.
Yes.
No loan. Or you could get a loan. It's really the same here, right? With solar?
Right. Same.
So this is just the craziest story and it just keeps evolving. So your buyer, I guess, is a good sport. Maybe we could say that. what happens next? They find out it's not leased. They find out it's owned. And on top of that, they find out there's a $30,000 loan.
Yes.
What happened then?
So then me and the listing agent are going back and forth. My clients, I'm trying to listen to what they want. I'm trying to advise them. And so finally we got to a point where we asked the seller to pay it off, right? Because sellers have to deliver a home clear and free. It was a cloud on the title. So if you are leasing or you have a finance loan for solar, you're always gonna have a lien on the title. So yes, we asked her to pay it off. She said she rejected it.
Yeah.
So at this point, we had two options, right? We either have to keep negotiating or we cancel at this point. So I went back to my clients. I asked them what they wanted to do. They still wanted to fight for the property. So we went back and forth. I asked the agent if her client would be willing to pay half at this point. She denied that. It went back and forth some more. She finally said the seller will pay 10,000 of it.
So that leaves what, 20,000
Yeah.
remaining. So with the 20,000, so the seller says, maybe there was some backpedaling by the agent and the seller, who knows, but it sounds like there was. Oh, we should have disclosed this differently. And it's like, whoops. But so they're offering to pay 10, there's 20 left over. Are your buyers going to take on the 20,000 as a loan, or are they just going to pay that off?
So at this point,
or?
we still didn't have the contract for the solar. So it was still approximately 30,000. We finally got our hands on the contract and there was 31,500 left. So at this point, the agent then asked me to split my commission with her so we could help pay for the solar system, which was crazy. It was crazy. I definitely felt like it was her mistake.
Yeah.
She didn't want to take ownership of it. So at this point, I had to advise my clients, look, we're in the same position. We take it or we leave it. Since it was such a unique property, they wanted it.
Yeah.
So we came to terms on the seller will pay 10,000, my clients will pay 20,000, and then the listing agent to pay 1,500.
Got it. Wow. And we talk about bigger picture thinking all the time. So I guess the silver lining here, first of all, let me just say, a lot of mistakes made by the seller and the listing agent here. And trying to leave my opinion out of this, but that's just a fact. Once that's paid off, then they do own a solar system outright.
Right. Correct.
So that's cool. And it's a property they loved. And Rhitney and I wanted to film this video just to hopefully shed some light on some of the questions that will come up, because this will happen again, right?
Absolutely.
It's just going to.
Yeah.
And I mean, Rhitney is now our in-house, we teased our in-house solar expert. Like, what else happened here with all this?
I think another thing that I kind of was shocked by too was the appraisal report. Because the listing agent was trying to say that if it was owned, that it would add more value to the home. And at this point, I'm Googling everything. I'm contacting everyone I could contact. And it's kind of not true. It's kind of depends on the lender is kind of what I got out of it, right? So when I Googled it, it says solar will add value to the home no matter what. And then when I did contact the appraisal company back and asked them their opinion, and they said to ask the lender. So There was never a really yes or no to that. It kind of sounds like it could go either way.
Yeah, so again, in the listing agent trying to backpedal, whoops, I made a mistake. Oh, and by the way, but it's okay because the home's worth more. And I agree with that because, when solar systems started to become very commonplace here in California, which is a while ago, we would ask appraisers, does it add value? And they didn't know. I do believe it adds value, especially in California. We've got high electricity costs. If it can offset that, that's valuable. But then the joke is, well, how much value does it add? And that's the struggle.
Yeah, because there is no exact value.
Or what's the formula? Or,
right.
Oh, there is no formula.
Right.
But that's kind of like the conclusion we've all come to as agents here in California is it does add value.
Yes, I would say yes.
We just don't know how much.
Right. So you can't really...
How do you prove that?
Add that to an appraisal report then, right? You can't say that it adds this amount to it if you own it or lease it, because it should add value no matter what.
Yeah. So what was the main thing that you wanted to hear, Rhitney? Like, let's say you're going to stumble across a property your buyer loves, a new buyer. Next week, you learn the house has solar. Like, what happens next?
I think it's just looking at how the agent is disclosing it on the MLS to begin with, right? And making sure that you're really going over every document and asking for it up front, because I didn't know anything about solar until this. So I joke with John, I'll carry this with me the rest of my career. I'll never forget this. It was pretty crazy, but I learned a lot. And I think that it does add value. I think that you shouldn't be scared of it. I think definitely dig in deeper and definitely read those contracts and definitely look over the title report, because if it's not owned, if it's leased or financed, there will be a lien on the property for it.
Yep, so true. There's one thing that we discovered too, kind of going through this together, on the MLS, if it says owned, because it's like it's leased or owned, right?
There's only 2 options on the MLS.
Right, so even if an agent says it's owned, right, which may be true, there's no box in at least our MLS to say if there's a loan or not, right?
Right. How I would disclose it, correct me if I'm wrong, is I would mark that it was owned. And then confidential remarks, I would make sure that says there's a finance loan on it. And then the disclosures, I would make sure that you could see that there is the finance loan right here.
Yeah, a statement, right?
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure. So I hope that helps our audience. Like if it says owned, ask if it's paid off. Or if it's not paid off, what's the balance due?
Yes.
And it just goes back to the more value we provide our clients, the more real estate we're going to be able to sell. And hopefully that's a good thing for all of you watching this here today. Well, I hope you guys got a lot out of this video. Hope you take this into your marketplaces, get out there, sell some more real estate, and go out there and win.